Surrounding me are activator rails and powered rails, and generally they're used in conjunction with minecarts. Powered rails make them go fast, activator rails, well, they can dismount things, and also do a couple more things. But it's neither of these two functionalities that really land them a spot in my favorite redstone tools to make things with. And that's just because they can do so much more than that. And that might come as a surprise to you, because that's really all they're advertised to do, those two functionalities. The only thing they can do elsewise is turn on and off. But it's just this interaction right here that levels these rails up into being one of the most versatile tools ever in terms of designing compact machinery. So let's actually talk about that. How do we use these things? So first off, let's start off by talking about rails as a wiring. This is redstone dust, the other most common form. And what's special about it is it can run pretty long distance, runs instantly, it can power things that it runs on top of, power things that it runs into, even curve into special blocks, turn corners, run in random directions, loop in on itself. All of these things are special to redstone dust. But rails have none of these things. They don't curve, you can't do any of that. They only can be drawn power from with an observer. They literally can run on top of things, and it won't power this piston, for example. They run completely independent of each other unless aiming into each other, and they won't even interact with the other rail that I'm talking about. So, redstone seems a lot more versatile. Why do we care about rails? And it's just this inactiveness that makes these things so special. And I'm about to show you exactly why. This is the Firework Display. You may remember it from an older video if you watched it, and I highly recommend go check it out if you want to, because it's quite an interesting topic, but I'm not here for the light show. I'm here for the rails. And the rails that are in here are here because we've got a very dense, complex network of wires, and we have 21 inputs, 21 outputs running along this edge, and each of them is connected to their very individual, independent, own wires. And that's why the rail is so powerful. It can run over, under, across, directly parallel to itself, and they won't interact. They'll just do their own thing, and they'll do that thing very, very well. They're also very good for tileability. We've got a bunch of the same circuit running all the way here. All of them operate independently of each other, and that's what makes the rail super good for systems where you need to send a lot of precise information from one location, the ROM, to another, the actual display panel. Another glorious example of rails being used very well is this compact cluster hell of a machine called the hoe burner. I did another video on it if you want to actually learn what it does. It's pretty interesting. But as again, I'm here for the rails. And what I want to say is that each of these rails are in contact with 5 other components that cannot be triggered, like this one here. It's next to 2 pistons. And it's crucial that these other components don't get triggered, because there's just so much going on at once, and everything needs to be so precise. And it's for very precise but compact applications like this that the rail is useful, because I can literally take the rail, and let me find it quickly, run it through a piston, and it won't trigger it. And that's how I achieve the incredibly complex timings of this machine. But there is a little bit more that rails have up their sleeve, and I'm going to show that to you in the form of a couple examples from one of my survival worlds. I'm in a creative copy right now, and if you look at this lever, it's connected to a wire that runs underground. But this wire travels virtually instantly to this beacon array. Similarly, we have a cannon right here. I drop an anvil in here, and it virtually instantly sends the order to a cannon way down there to fire and crush me with a anvil. I'm in creative mode. So how do we get this to work? So let's get into the details here. How do we pull this off? If we look at this rail line, these last 3 rails are powered because of this redstone block, and if I remove it, it should become like this rail line, where it's not powered at the end here. But that's not what happens, because rails, like other redstone components, need to be reminded that they need to turn off. And since the rail directly underneath the redstone block I just broke didn't change, because it's also being powered by this one, it couldn't send that reminder to these rails. If I place a block next to it, it does though. And by using some clever setups with these redstone blocks, and removing them in the right way, we can create long lines of pseudo-powered redstone rails. And updating them causes them all to change at once. This is the crux of the underground wiring system. We have a nice little signal here, and that's going to update all of these pseudo-powered rails at once, and these observers that they're sitting on top of are going to reset the system. And I can show you that like this. Sends the power all the way across, and that is essentially giving signals to our big beacon array. The same thing is happening for the anvil cannon right down here. We've got a similar line. So we've seen that rails can be applied to a lot of different circumstances, but all of these things we're talking about are on the macro level. Rails have a couple quirks to them that happen without us even seeing them, and I can show that to you in this demonstration here. We've got a line of droppers here connected to this line of rails. When we power it, predictably all the droppers trigger, and this glass is moving along as we can see with the comparatives. But something we can change is which side we power it from, and if I throw the glass in this side, power it from that side, it accelerates to the end instantly. And that's because rails have a weird quirk to them. They like to update, as in realize they're being powered, in the order of farthest away from the power source, if this is the power source, this is the first one, to closest. So this would be the last to power if I powered from here. And that's why this accelerates instantly. If it powers in order from farthest to closest, this one fires, then this one, 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 all in the same moment, allowing the glass to be accelerated to the end instantaneously. Anyways, that'll be it for this video. Make sure to check out my other stuff on my channel if you want to see me talk about the machines that were mentioned in this video, as well as just other stuff that I have to talk about. And make sure to like and subscribe if you want to regularly see more content like this. And I'll see you next time.